प्रशंसात् पूर्णात् स्वरूप आदुन्मेष प्रसरण निमेष स्थितिजुषा तदद्वैतं वन्दे परम शिव सत्यात्म निखिलम्. I would like all of us read together the first chapter. So do it. Chaitanyam Atma. Chaitanyam Atma. Jnanam Bandha. Yoni Vargaha Kala Shariram. Jnanadhishtanam Matrika. Udyamo Bhairavaha. Shakti Chakra Sandhane Vishwa Samharaha. Jagrat Swapna Sushupta Bhede Turya Bhoga Sambhavaha. Jnanam Jagrat Swapno Vikalpaha. Aviveko Maya Sausuptam. Tritaya Bhokta Vireshaha. Vismayo Yoga Bhumikaha. Ichha Shakti Ruma Kumari. Drishyam Shariram. Hridaye Chitta Sangata Trishya Swapa Darshanam. Suddha Tattva Sandhanadva Apashu Shakti. Vitarka Atma Jnanam. Lokanandaha Samadhi Shikam. Shakti Sandhane Shavirotpattihi. Bhuta Sandhana Bhuta Prithakta Vishwa Sanghataha. Shuddha Vidyodaya Chakre Sattva Siddhihi. Mahahradanu Sandhanan Mantra Viryanu Bhavaha. Some practical things before we go to philosophical things. So there are 3 sections in the Shiva Sutra. The first section that we are reading is called Shakta Upaya. I have not discussed much on what to make this is the Shambhava Upaya, sorry, Shambhava Upaya. And the second chapter will be called Shakta, and then the third chapter will be Andava Upaya. I have not discussed what constitutes these 3 upayas, because the text itself, there are some books that are descriptive. They describe what things are. And it helps us to know what is reality and all that. Some are methods. They are not descriptions of some abstract philosophies. These methods are there to help people to get from an ordinary state to the highest state. So for everybody who is here listening all these ideas, you need to look for these things. Why? The first question comes, like, why shall I waste my valuable time? Because it will grant you moksha. Okay, that's not really appealing. Why should I get that? Because I'm just happy the way it is. And for some of you who are very frustrated and not happy, even then, why would you want to give up your $1,000 when someone is committing nothing, zero to you, like what is moksha like? Is this like you gain something big? And there is when it is like a total loss, you would rather be just happy to be in, no matter how miserable the condition, life is still sometimes good, even if sometimes not so good. That is why most people are not interested in all these esoteric practices. Fortunately, these Shaivite, Shambhava, Trika, Tantric, Agama texts are not to give you the idea that this world is a miserable place that you need to run out of. No, that is not. The Shambhava texts do not ever, even one time, say that. This world is what you make out of it. It is a miserable place and it's an amazingly beautiful place, number one. Because I have to dispel some illusions before you freak out what is the teaching going to be like. And number one, I have never claimed I have some teaching, because we are trying to understand the tradition, because there is a crisis. of understanding. People are making up whatever they like, and nobody wants to actually even go and bother reading these things. Number two big point, the world is all Maya, illusion only. The world does not even exist. And therefore, don't worry about it. No, I mean, this in the tradition that we are studying right now, the world is an expression of the divine mother, Shakti. This is an expansion of something that is embedded within Shiva nature. So, the best example I have ever found, and I keep repeating this example, and please, like my scientist friends, they can give me other better examples for tomorrow, is a 4th, 5th century philosopher uses one example of a peacock egg, Mayuranda. What does that mean? Is if you break an egg of a peacock, the yolk, it's going to be the same as like chicken egg or or goose egg. It will not have all the million colors layered in the feather that you see. That is called latency or potency, and then the expression or emergence of pre-existing potencies. What is Shakti? Shakti is not multiple colors, in the miniature form, like there is this all the really infinitesimal colors stacked together. No. There is no color as such there. What is there? There's just the power to come into that and that million forms. In the pure state of mind, in pure consciousness, what is there? There is the power. The power does not decay. The power is always in the equilibrium. The power resides either within consciousness or without consciousness, kind of sort of eject itself, manifest. It's not like it's going out, but it materializes. The world of our experience that we smell, we touch, we hear, everything in the world is the expression of that divine potency. In the form of the egg, it is one. In the form of the colors of the feather, it is infinite. You and I are infinite. And we all, going back to that potency, is one. Is there an eraser of our being? No, it's not an eraser. So it's in the power form. We all are eternally here. We all will be eternally here. What is there to gain then? What we have lost following this very small book, what we have lost right now is our consciousness of this mechanism. And what they are saying is, by means of meditation or by means of contemplation, thinking, and whatever the practices described, we can trace back to that totality. To be all, not to be none. To be everywhere and not to be nowhere. To be in all modes of temporality and beyond, and not to erase your being in all modes of time. But to be everywhere, to be omnipresent, to be omnipotent, this is like you need to be a bigger person. And that is not going to be you and me. That's going to be Shiva. Shiva is a generic name, like the ocean. Ocean is a generic name for all the drops of water. Shiva is the same way generic name for that universal collective consciousness. There is nothing else you like to worship in this particular image and that particular image. That's your call. Or no image, that's your call. The real awakening is the awakening that I am the totality. Not the awakening that the world does not exist, I don't exist, this world is miserable. No, that is not this philosophy. We are not trying to do anything like that. So at least that is our selling point. These daughters are the witness if they feel later that it was kind of okay. If it can be practical, it's still mumbo jumbo kind of thing. But if they feel like it's not world denying, because the fundamental way of teaching about Hindu philosophy, Buddhist philosophy, all the Oriental philosophies, is that they just deny the world, the reality, the life. We want to enjoy, we have fun, and then they just want to talk about get out of the world. We don't like it. And then we say, young people are not coming. Why? We don't want them to come either, because there is life. Their life needs to be enjoyed. But the philosophy is saying, enjoy your life, but there is more to it. What do you think you are enjoying? Like imagine. I don't want to be in record of personal experiences. That's why I've avoided recording all these things. But they're like tremendous experiences you can start having in your private personal life, which only shows. Imagine like if you were only a single cell in your body. Just one single neuron, having some kind of a 1 or 0 calculation. And then you have this multi-billion complex calculation. And then you just cannot imagine the processing. Even if you think itself as a machine, you can't just imagine the amount, the level, the gravity, the depth of processing that sophisticated machine can do. The same way, the bliss of processing the entire world as myself, the ecstasy, the bliss, what comes within is not something that our common atomic level, microscopic level language or experience can define, can determine. So that is why it's called Jagaran, awakening. Prabodh, real terminologies are not even, these acharyas are not even always using nirvana, moksha, those terminologies. This is the total awakening. We are sleeping right now. No, we are not sleeping. I mean, like not fully sleeping. But imagine the degrees of consciousness. Sometimes you feel sharp. Sometimes you are slow. Sometimes you are drowsy. Sometimes your daddy needs coffee. So that is like, and then other times you are totally asleep. So like there is a degree of consciousness. Although we are awake, but we are in different level of alertness. What would it be like to be fully awake? To experience for once, even in our own body, even I'm fully conscious of my body. Can anyone tell me that I am totally conscious of my body? Why do you then go to the doctor and the doctor says, oh my gosh, there is this happening in this part of the body, that happening that part of the body, there's this tumor growing, and we don't know anything about it. Our knowledge, our awareness is so limited that we do not even know something that we feel. You know, if there is wound, there's cut, we feel in our body the disease, discomfort. But even that, most of the discomfort that is happening within our system, we are not conscious of that. First of all, imagine a total alertness of your own bodily being, your presence. We are in the world. Mother gave this amazing, beautiful body in this world. And the first thing we thought is, what a trap. We could not even experience the potential, the totality of what it can give. It is like a blind guy describing the world as dark and criticizing a painter like a Van Gogh or whatever, you know, and just telling him what a waste of time. Because you need eyes to see colors, you know. And sometimes you get like partial color blind. I'm not totally colorblind. You doctors would know. I'm like sometimes I get a hard time to distinguish between green and blue. And my kids have said there is some particular term for that particular syndrome. So some people are mixed up with more colors. I am not for all types, but some shades of blue and some shades of green look the same to me. And that it does exist actually in the medical world. Our knowledge of the world is very limited. What can we do about it? I know I'm elaborating because I need to ground the system. Because there's a misconception. I can't build anything based on misconception. There are 3 upayas based on 3 different things. I said I will say something practical. This is the practical coming. One is based on Ichha. I will translate. One is based on Ichha Shakti. Ichha Shakti ko jagao. Rekindle the power of your will. Jnana Shakti. The power of your knowledge. Kriya Shakti. The power of your action. So this is not a negation of one at the cost of other, because there are 3 chapters in the book for 3 purposes. The first thing, even if you do not remember every single verse in the chapter now is Ichha Shakti, the willpower. What are we doing? For me too, Gayatri came from work. And you need to, if it was Bhagavad Gita, she would have maybe said, I'm so tired today. And it's like a bias already. This is Shiva Sutra. No, I'm tired. I'm not tired. I even jokingly said, you may be very tired, so Gayatri, you don't have to go.
Shy white.
Yeah.
She's anti-white.
so I just even said, maybe you are too tired. No, I'm not tired. You know, Ichha. Everybody here had one thing or the other to do. Maybe you two were dragged by parents. You are too big to be dragged anymore. So you came with your will. I believe that. Maybe partly dragged, but mostly. so there is some will. If you had 0 will, you would not be here anyway. You would have found a real solid reason to not be here. Now, how to nurture that will? Because you do not need to find any guru. And I'm no guru, I'm just reading a book. And you do not need to find anything. You need to find only one thing. To put your desire in a correct trajectory. That is the chapter on Shambhava Upaya. This is the Upaya of the willpower to, number 1, purify your will. As long as you want to play soccer and tennis and volleyball and be in whatever, 1 million games, and also be a scientist and an engineer and mathematician and a philosopher, and also hang out, maybe also find some role in the Hollywood, you are not going to get anything in your life. Nobody gets everything in life. These doctors who have achieved so much in their life, they have sacrificed 99% of the things they could have done, they could have enjoyed by doing other things. To achieve one thing, you have to learn to sacrifice 99 things. You want to get 99 things, and you will sacrifice everything. I want this, but I also want this. Okay, then that's not going to happen. That does not happen to nobody. How to control your will from running around everywhere. I have this like highways. So when my brothers come, okay, tell me, what am I going to do? What shall I do? I'm just like, it's so easy job for me. Why do you want to do 10 things? Find one thing. And I'm not making anything up, because if you have 10 hours, if you actually read one book, you might get somewhere within that 10 hours. But you have 20 books in pile. All you can do is read cover. And you can comment, sir, I read cover to cover, and I know what you mean. you read this cover, and you read another side of the cover. And I read cover to cover. I know what you mean by I read cover to cover. So to read one book, you have to sacrifice reading all other really good, I'm not saying bad book. Ichha Shakti ko jagao. How to get this total awareness, full consciousness, purna ahanta, virat atman, tato virat ajayata virajo adipuruka, prajapati, hiranya garbha samavartata gre bhutasya jatah patireka asit. There is no contradiction, by the way, okay, between what these texts are saying and the Vedas. It's just like people who have not gone to the depth of this. Samasti Sharirabhimani Virat. That's the definition. And how to set that will in a proper channel, so that that will becomes a pure will. Most often I am not practical, and I want to be less and less practical. Because in the real world, there is a lot of violence. In the real world, there is a lot of injustice. In the real world, there is a lot of prejudice. If you want to live your life with a total awakening, you have to start actually questioning your mind and judging your mind and evaluating your mental states as to what extent you can have even the will to experience the totality as yourself. Because everywhere we go, we are educated to discriminate people, to hate others, to judge others. Everything we do is for my personal gain, which most often means your personal loss. How to live a life where I can live with this tender heart, that I don't have to live with a cunningness. Every occupation finds a balance, by the way. Do not, even for a thief, even for a bandit, there are moral bandits and immoral bandits. I would not justify the style of a moral bandit, but what I mean is, there's a degree of what is less harmful and what is more harmful.
Robin Hood.
Robin Hood is an example, for example. So the will, how to get this will? This will, in the level of the will, we are one with this cosmos. There is no total separation. I do not know, like there are so many mothers here, even when your baby was separated from your feeding tube, you may have, as a man, I cannot have that first-hand experience, but you may have had that experience of your child as an extension, a continuity of your own body, and the needs, desires, pain, pleasure of that another person, another body, as your own needs and desires. This in totality is like waking up. Imagine you had in your belly like 8 billion humankinds and trillion other species living together. Being one with the totality is that ginormous collective mother. That is Shakti. And we are expressed in many forms. Does not mean that oneness, the umbilical cord with that mother, with the collective consciousness, is somehow severed. It is there. So therefore, it's not a hypothetical scenario. We are always part of the collective. Not just socially, but metaphysically. We are always part of the collective. How to trace that experience? How to regain that consciousness? That is yoga. So then I'll just give a brief of the second step would be jnana. Like we have this jnana mixed with ajnana. One day I just went with the whole just ajnana. I can go another day just whole description as jnana. This is the only philosophy that does not make a distinction between jnana and ajnana. Why? Because in the limited level, even jnana is ajnana. Although I don't think it actually works, but there is an example. Payaha panam bhujanganam kevalam vishavardhanam. What that means is if you feed a snake with milk, that only helps it cultivate more poison. I don't know whether you can actually feed milk to a snake, but that comes from our cultural connotation. People in India offer milk for Nag Devta and things like that. So the basic idea is it doesn't matter what the snake eats, it translates into toxicity. First of all, you need to know whether you are a snake type or the medicine type, So if you have the healing capacity, whatever you take from your environment, from your surrounding, you will turn that into healing energy. If you are toxic, the whole world is toxic. If you are some people are funny and everything for them looks funny. Anything like a small minor stuffs too, they find it funny. And some are angry people. And then anything they see, the same thing could be funny. Sometimes, the same thing, like for example, what you are wearing doesn't match. And some others see, look, that shirt and the coat does not match. It's very funny. I go with these jackets to my class. Most often I've adopted this dress. I like it because it's very different from others, So when I go to American University wearing this, it's very different. So and I can immediately see some don't care, some feel funny because it's weird for them. But some people might not like it because some might think that I'm making a statement here, that I'm different, I'm coming from a different culture, and I'm gonna keep doing it. And some might find that so, and might feel offended. And I have had that experience. Okay, I've had that experience. So Gyan and Agyan is like that. You want to change everything into Gyan. How do you do that? Roast everything with mantra. Every single thing in the world, I teach you the mechanism, okay? Every single thing in the world you know, you can think about, has a name. House has a name, cow has a name, car has a name, plane has a name. Running is a word. Everything you do, everything you think about is expressed in language. All your thoughts boil down to language. And every single language in the world boil down to 50 phonemes, basic syllables. That's what I mean. So mantras are a mechanism where you start thinking back to the phonemes, then to the meaning. And I get all the time, I'm on Facebook also, I'm addicted, and you do 2 or 3 different email accounts. And then, you know, it's like occupation. People keep asking, what is the meaning of this mantra? And they need to find, it's like a cow is a word, and they're just like an animal with horns and, you know, like a big fat body. And that is the animal with tail and a lump. And that is the thing, that is the meaning. So for mantras also, they are asking for something like that. What does this mean? What they mean is, this is like a name and it has some connotation. It has to refer to something. So that they can think about something, you know, like when they are reading it. When I say, why can't just you think on the mantras themselves? What do you mean by that? When you are saying ka, just think of ka. When you are saying ha, just think of ha. No, but that is weird. That doesn't mean anything. Yes, exactly. It is not supposed. You know, sometimes there is a different type of significance and meaning system, but in the base level, it is not even supposed to just replace our common language with this metaphysical language, and then these are the mantras, and you start thinking another things. Everything you think about is the things of the world. The truth as such, the absolute pure consciousness is not your thought. And even when you bring that to your thought, that is not the truth, the absolute. That is not pure consciousness. That's just an image. How to teach your mind to be thoughtless? Going back to the mantras, to phonemes, without thinking, without ideas, without concepts, without this ka means that, this ha means that, without that type of same connotation. This is supposed to help cut down your thoughts. Oh, I need so much of processing in my life. You do not know. In your life it's easy, but I am a scientist. I need very higher processing. I cannot cut down my thoughts. I mean, some people might have the idea of what will happen if somehow I learn a mechanism. Suppose what I'm saying actually works, that you would actually start cutting down in the size or the number, the volume of thoughts. And you are scared, what if I stop thinking about my wife or my children? Okay, it doesn't happen like that. It's not you forget something. It helps you intensify, go to higher degree of thoughts for the particular things you need to think about by shifting your attention from all the junk. Why is the sign of McDonald's looks like that? You can think of a whole day. Why do you need to know that? Just, you don't need to tell me now, but think when you are alone, 99% of the things you know at a time feels good too, because at least you know, is just a total waste of knowledge. Your life can be perfectly well, maybe imagine 100 times better if you did not know all the junk and you could only focus. Think of a computer. You know, you are processing 10 different information and you say, oh, my computer is very slow. Jnana, the only jnana, the second chapter, is about how to recognize this faculty of the mind to roast unnecessary matter of information, to learn to stay focused for a prolonged period of time. And the third is action. Action is always about body. Without the body, there is no action. And you know that if Shiva Sutra has a complete chapter just on action, and not just complete chapter, the longest chapter on action, it is also the chapter on the body. Recognizing your bodily being means recognizing your food, recognizing your residence, what you wear, how you live, your prosperity, happy life, all is okay. How to purify your action? Because we are told the actions don't matter. Somebody told you. You got carried away. Or you freaked out. Oh my gosh, if I have to just give up all my duties and works and I don't want that. Or some people even became monk. I've lived in ashram and then one guy got a monk, didn't even know what the hell he was looking for, sorry for language. And then the second day after being a monk, when he got the list of the duties he has to do, he looks shocked and asked Mahantaji, but I thought I don't have to do anything, no duty. And Mahanta is very practical guy. You are right, actually. You just don't have to live in ashram too. If you want to live in ashram, then we have to run the ashram and everybody needs to do things. But you can just go and live under a tree and do whatever you like. So, so there is this action. How long we keep doing these actions? As long as you breathe in and breathe out, that is an action. Thinking is also action. Everything is action. Everything requires some physicality. All actions need some form of body. Therefore, even using mind, there is no bodiless mind thinking. For the mind to think needs a body. Therefore, the first and foremost spiritual lesson for everybody to learn is to be healthy. Therefore, I love doctors. Not the kind of disease-making doctors, but the disease-curing type doctors. So, these are all the details I had to give you because we kind of rushed and first day goes by, second day goes by. And one day I had to spend time giving you the groundwork. Now I come to point. Jnana, Adhisthana, Matrika, we had discussed last. Some of you were here, some were not here. Udyamo Bhairava, I didn't discuss that before. Matrika has multiple meanings. Ajnata Mata Matrika, the mother that I have forgotten. That is a grammar, I'm telling you, just a grammar. There is this mother. motherly energy that I am not aware of. That is what is called matrika number. But who are these matrikas? Now, the phonemes, again the alphabets, these are the mothers that we have not recognized. Because were we to recognize the zenith of the power of the mothers, the phonemes, the language, we do not know the power of language. That is why we are trapped in the world. When I say like this, my students, language doesn't have magical power. I know language can describe things. And I'm all for magic. I can't do like a vanishing, all those. It's real. That would be cool, but I don't know. But I'm all for magic. I'm not interested in regular connotation of language. What is the magical thing about language in our everyday life? The anger, when you use some words with anger, that it has a magical power to hurt to the bottom of heart of who you are quarreling with. When you say some nice words with love, it has a transformative power. So that is what I mean by magical power. Language does not only describe reality. That's what I first started. Language, the descriptive role of language is one thing. I'm interested in the transformative role of language. How you use small words to, keep friendship, address each other, uh, keep your kids in track. It's not about describing. There is food in the table. I have cooked rice and curry. No, that doesn't help. That would be the appropriate thing for you to tell your kids. Hey, by the way, there is this type of curry with this spice. Like a menu. You do not give the menu. You tell kids, food is ready. And based on the tone of your food is ready, based on how you say that, they decide whether to come or not to come. When you say food is ready, they understand the meaning. But their coming or not coming is not dependent on the word food is ready. Their coming or not coming is based on how you say that word. Hey, food is ready, come you guys, or food is ready, what you guys doing? Or you start screaming. That decides everything. Language does not just describe the world. Language creates the world. Language creates its own reality. It's based on the language we are here gathered together. That is a different type of language than just simply describing reality. So what we did, we divided 50 phonemes into 8 groups, because each phoneme, by the way, if you have followed on research on these different phonemes, the different type of vibration, so based on their resonance, based on their vibration, the rishis have categorized these 50 phonemes into 8 groups, and we call them 8 matrikas. So isn't all the mantra the same? Yeah, but no. What do I mean by all this is the language, speech, phoneme, but no, because every phoneme has a different resonance and has different effect in your psychosomatic reality, in your body-mind complex. It constitutes different cluster of neurons in new synapses in your brain. Every phoneme has a different character of rewiring your mind and the body. Therefore, we divided into 8 different groups and gave even some animals and some dress just to describe the properties. Now imagine the permutation of how many phonemes can mix match with how many other phonemes, and then they counted 70 million mantras coming out. Out of that, you have the Mahavidya mantras. And by the way, these why the Satyajata mantras we do is these five are actually the basis for 70 million mantras. Jnanadhisthana Madhyaka. But if this whole thing, our knowledge, is based on this phoneme or going back to consciousness, what is that pure source of consciousness? The emergence of the state that is not ordinary level of consciousness. That is not your everyday level of consciousness. That is what the sutra number 5, Udyamo Bhairavaha. I'm sure that the kids don't even know the word Bhairava. Bhairava is a deity, God, black one, all that. Okay, that's a basic. But for most of you who have seen the image of Bhairava, one thing, if you have actually watched, observed the image of Bhairava, always Bhairavas are depicted with their bulging eyes, wide open eyes. Antar laksho bahir drishti nimeshon meshavarjita, without moving your pupils, without blinking. When you gaze out with your wide open eyes, but not seeing anything outside, with you antar laksha, with your focus located inside. That is a gesture called Bhairavi Mudra. That is the gesture of Bhairava. So all the Bhairava statues are trying to tell you, have your eyes wide open and your focus in your heart. That is the significance. That is the symbolism. Kshema Raja, the great master who wrote a commentary on Shiva Sutra, he gives a commentary, Jagiti Uchalanatmakaha. So it happens as if sudden. It happens as if a surge of this bliss in no sequence. Parapratibhonmesha, it says a swatantra. Two terms I would like to talk today, maybe a little bit I may have talked before. One is swatantra, freedom, autonomy, and another is pratibha, creativity. Because so many of these kids, you guys would love to be scientists. You guys would love to discover something, at least to have a bunch of patents so you can actually suck the system and make some money. Why is it not happening? Why are people in America more creative than people in some other parts of the world? It's a very crude, but it's a fact too. What is different here? The thing is, you go to school, you go to teach. Like, I've taught for like almost 20 years here. There really nobody is scrutinizing what I teach, how I teach, to what extent I teach. Absolute freedom. As long as you are dedicated to do the job, you are free to experiment this way, experiment that way, apply this law, apply that rule. The more freedom you give to subjects, we are scared, in some cultures. There is zero freedom. It just touched my heart today when I saw, just before, it's a disease of watching television. I don't have a television anymore, but I've just anyway go through online, read the news, and I'm just like, there's just girl really smiling, triumphant, and she's on wheel, and she's giving the sign of victory. Can you guess where that picture was from? From Saudi Arabia. Because today they were allowed to drive. Just, I'm sorry, women. Just imagine where half the world is. That they have to celebrate victory for being able to drive. And you are blaming for not having creativity, not having scientific innovations, people not winning Nobel Prize, not writing the best novels or the philosophies, because the society does not let. I try to work a little bit, even within my own community, do some projects. Oh my gosh, if you want to completely block your creativity, then you want to work with deshis. Culturally, our philosophy is great, our practice,
zero,
gone down. We don't know how to experiment with freedom.
Because it was never given to us in our culture.
Yes.
Freedom was never given.
How to explore this zenith of human capacity of freedom. What happened is, fortunately, we got the best philosophy. Unfortunately, we got the worst practice. As long as we cannot bring this philosophy to practice, so that first thing is autonomy or freedom, whatever term, swatantra. Why swatantra? Why? I'm talking about that little bit looks like non-metaphysical, but metaphysically, liberation is not changing your state from this to that. Liberation is giving you freedom. That's really as it is. Right now, you do not have the freedom to act, and therefore you think, I wish I could fly, I could do this, I could do that. Liberation as action, number one.
Just want to make a comment here on the
Sure.
liberty and freedom. Swami Vivekananda, in one of his talks, made a beautiful statement. Liberty is the first condition of growth.
Yeah.
Wherever it is snatched away, man has turned into a brute.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that is what has happened in our cultures.
Yeah. Liberty. These people explored in this, and before they explored these liberties, creativity was down the drain here also.
Yeah.
Just check the history, right? One thing. Why is it like that? Today I shared on my Facebook like tens of containers full. Some people were, I don't know where they were carrying from. In the shipment containers, they had tens of containers of the birds' cage. They were trying to sell in America, most likely, like sell these exotic birds. And the people kind of got, and then they freed these. To see these tens of thousands of birds trapped in that container to flutter, not even thinking, we don't know where we are, it looks like the ocean or it's unknown territory. If you are caged, as soon as you see the door, you fly out. You do not ask, will I be safe outside? You don't care. That's a second question. Of course, you'll have to struggle. Maybe cage is very safe place. Maybe cage is a very safe place in practicality, but that is not a human nature. You want to take your risk. If your dad and mom say, no, daughter, you cannot get out of house, period, that's it. And they ask, why? It's so scary outside. You're like, really? Let me see what is scary. Why do you have to see what is scary? Because you want to know. Freedom is the freedom of knowledge. Ultimate freedom is more than the freedom of action. and freedom of knowledge. Absolute freedom is the freedom of will. Because you do not know what you should want. I am telling you, sometimes in private, sometimes even public, some of you guys can go far, far ahead than most of us can, which is good. But if you know what you can, if you have that will, if you just kind of waste all your energy, you can always play Monopoly, just because it's not like you are supposed to be a rich guy, the fortune tellers. I'm actually thinking of Facebook posting a message like, please, my friends who will, please, if you know astrology, and then I'll just unfriend all of them in the same single block. Why I don't care for is this fortune telling is really blocking our progress. You need to know that you can achieve anything you like if you put your mind to it. Because this is the philosophy not of fortune telling, but of fortune making. And there is a difference between the philosophy of creating your reality or believing in something is going to happen. If you keep playing Monopoly and win all the towns in the Monopoly, you might actually end up buying one of those, Trump Towers, or something like that. It doesn't happen. You need to put your will in this absolute high platform. Udyama. That is where you have this Udyama, who is Swatantra autonomy. That is, Bhairava is just a name for this freedom. That is why Bhairava doesn't abide by any laws. Bhairava does not abide by the laws of God, also the laws imposed by himself, the laws of Dharma. Sometimes somebody needs to even violate the laws of Dharma to maintain Dharma. He's a higher Dharma. He's the meta Dharma. Bhairava severes the head of Brahma. Brahma is the creator God. And then Brahma is like, okay, you have this extra head, you don't need, I'm going to cut it out. You know the story, right? Bhairava cutting the head of Brahmaji. Has anyone heard of that? Oh, wow. That's like Brahmaji, when he created the Vedas, Vat's speech was Saraswati. And Vat, when Brahma speaks, that Vat comes through. And that is how Vat, or the speech, becomes the daughter of Brahma, the creator God. And then he loves his speech. Speakers love their speech. But that is loving your own daughter. That is profane. And that is why Bhairava cuts the head of Brahma. So you should go thoughtless state. You should not get stuck in your thoughts. That is why Bhairava carries the head. I'm sure if you have seen the statue of Bhairava, you must have seen him carrying a head. That's the head of Brahmaji, actually. And then sometimes you will see only him carrying a skull. That's also the skull made out of the head of the Brahmaji, the creator God. What happens there is para-pratibhodmesha. In this total freedom that is not controlled by self-imposed or other imposed restrictions, the creativity is not your creativity, my creativity, others' creativity. Creativity is the collective impulse of reality. The world is creative. That is why there is creation happening. It is only humans. Ingeniousness of human is their duplicate. If you buy one Tesla, I guarantee you another person can buy exactly same Tesla. If you go pick up a pebble from the beach, I guarantee you nobody on this planet Earth will be able to pick up another exactly identical pebble. You pick up one leaf, they all look the same, even of this jade plant, you will say. They all look the same as long as you do not closely observe them. I guarantee you, if you have $1,000,000, put it there because I'm going to win. There is no absolute duplication. There is something unique to every leaf, every plant, every human face, every animal face, every bird, every insect. How can that even happen? Because nature is creative in itself, Srijana. Right? That is where you get to. When you feel free, little floating up, you connect to that divine impulse of creativity, and that divine impulse of creativity touches you based on your own instinct, based on your own karma, based on your own samskara. If you are a mathematician, you will learn higher mathematics. You know the Ramanujan?
Yeah.
It's not just based on analysis. It is based on touching the ground of being, touching the ground of consciousness, liberating your mind from all the clingings and scaffoldings. If you are a musician, you will not automatically be imposed to all the grammar and mathematics. You will just learn amazing music. Based on your own samskaras and your own tendencies, the creativity will drive you one step forward. So all the things attuned to nature retain their creative surge. The more you go away from your inherent internal creative attunement to nature, you get away from pure creativity. You become a photocopy machine. You become a robot. And even your love making will be robotic. Even your cooking. You go to a hotel, I say, baby, I don't eat out. So why don't you eat out? Eating in restaurant is a robotic exercise. If you have a flavor memory, you know, some people are very good with the memory of the flavor, what it tastes like. When the housewives cook, I cannot say the same thing. Every time there will be something new flavor. You go to a mostly standard restaurant, you know, like a random restaurant, they might be better in that sense because they do not have a proper chef, so they are randomly trying this and that. So sometimes it may turn bad, but I would rather prefer that. You know why? Because they will not repeat the exact same flavor. It's like driving. I have to drive to Highway 59A to go to my office. And I will drive as long as I don't retire or change the job or something. But I do not drive this route because it's the best route. This most enjoyable, it's most scenic. Nothing. Life should not be like that, you know. Repetition of the monotonous steps. Even the first step you take when you wake up in the morning should be a creative step. The yawning, physical gestures, laughing, anything. You like to quarrel, then even your quarreling should be somehow creative. Don't say the same words again and again. Be creative there.
Create new curse words.
Exactly.
Acharya, there was a beautiful story of Rabindranath Tagore, precisely in reference to what you're saying. And he had loads of poems, incomplete. And one of his friends came to his house and said, man, I mean, you know, you're getting up in age. Why don't you print these, you know, poems and make a compilation, make a book, and, you know, you'll have several books here to print. And he says, well, my hand was guided in my creative process. It's the consciousness using my hand to write that poetry. And it stopped there. And I did not get any more. So these are incomplete. This is not my creation. This is the creation.
This is
I
how
was
it
used
came
by
out.
the creation to create this.
Yeah.
This is incomplete. So it will remain incomplete.
Yeah.
It's not my work. So it's so beautiful. So what you're saying is precisely that.
Human creativity will pause. Human as a civilization will not be able to move forward if humans lose their foundation of the collective creative thrust of the nature. It's not going back to nature is like being a caveman again, you know. I mean, which I love the idea, you know, go camping and all, but creativity requires your ability to also move beyond our regular natural construct. Okay. So what is Bhairava? I'll just let me wrap this up. I know I can just go on this sutra forever because this is the most profound. I mean, all the sutras are very profound, but Udyama Bhairava, this Udyama, upward, Yama, Gati, motion, or keeping yourself to retain yourself in this upward motion, which is where are we going to go? Everybody wants a direction, and all those who want directions are losers. You want to have fun? I love to tell stories. When I was like my eldest brother, my brothers were a little younger, and then I got really smart on telling stories. So I would just make up. And you know, the demon comes, and because stories have like 10 kind of things here and there, spices. All the stories are the same afterward. A prince, princess, whatever, you know, demon and things like that. And keep playing with them. What does it mean? Where is it going to go? Yeah. You say, where are we going? Are we there yet? That's what the kids, you know, are we there yet? When are you going to get there? You are looking for a goal. You are not looking for a journey. Is he just going to keep telling us all these philosophy? Yes, that's exactly what I intend to do. Because you want something finite. You want something to own ultimately. Because if you have something finite, you can hold on to it, you can grasp it, you can personalize it, privatize it, maybe even commodify it, sell it, make money, have fun, make your own brand of yoga. And when you see that is not, because divine creativity does not have a finite purpose. Divine creativity is an infinite unfolding of being. It just keeps unfolding all the time. It does not have an end project. Your DNA sequencing is not there supposed to go and like that is where it is supposed to continue the gene pool and then supposed to stop there. No, it should not stop anywhere. It should continue into newer and newer forms. Like what? We do not know like what. We are just one stage of this unfolding of the divinity. That's all the divinity I know, I'm aware of. I don't know of some astral gods or something. This creative surge of the totality is divine. That Udyama is the Bhairava. That Udyama has this freedom, Swatantra. That Udyama has the Bharana, contentment. When you are creative, you are content. Ramana, when you are creative, you are enjoying. And Bhamana, throwing out, revealing new things. Bhairava. Bhairava means to feel, to replete, to relish, and to refill. This enormous creativity, you are the powerhouse of enormous creativity. It is not about going into one idea or the other. You are the maker of ideas. Don't follow ideas. What is his philosophy? Don't follow his philosophy. You are the maker of philosophies. Go to that origin where this whole creation, in the cosmic level, the creation of all the worlds is happening in your own body. Constant transformation of the genes is happening. In the thought itself, a constant change in your mental state is happening, in your emotional surge. And there is no duplication in experience. Even when you are eating the same food, same apple you are biting yesterday and today, your experience of biting the apple today is not a repetition of the experience you had yesterday when you had a bite. Experience is not a duplication.
And each bite is unique.
Every experience in the level of experience. So therefore I'm saying life is such a beautiful thing when you get to this eternal newness. Nava Prativormesha Shalini Pratibha. This eternal newness, that is what surges out, flows through you in your state of being in Bhairava. By the blessing of Lord Bhairava, I have spoken these few words. Thank you so much. Bhiruram Abhayaprado Bhavavayakrandasya Hetustata Hriddhamni Pratitascha Bhiravarucham Isho Ontakasyantakah Bherambhayatiya Swayogi Nivahastasya Prabhu Bhairavo Vishwasmin Bharadadi Kridvijayate Vijnana Rupaha Paraha. Om Shanti.